For $14 to $21, forgot about it.
Japanese Jewish.
I don't know what the hell happened with that accent.
That's why they talk us.
The Imperial Race by Dominus Sigan Traino. In a remote corner of Italy, nestled in the picturesque landscape of Siena, there existed a small town that held within it a multitude of secrets. Whispers danced through the cobblestone streets, carrying with them tales of an Etruscan witch king named Sigan, a grand high priest and sorcerer of great power and influence.
I can help you.
Sigan, an androgynous immortal and native of the ancient city of Murlo, had long been considered a figure of both fascination and fear. Deeply rooted in the practices of the old religion, Sigan possessed an unwavering loyalty to its teachings. He was renowned as the greatest sorcerer to have ever graced the lands, his magic capable of transforming day into night, shifting tides, and even playing a role in the construction of the very town he called home. Legends whispered that his incantations had breathed life into the stones that formed the walls of Murlo, imbuing them with an otherworldly energy. Yet, it was not solely his prowess in the arcane arts that set Sigan apart. He was known for his adherence to an unconventional story, one that challenged the common narratives of the world. To him, Israel was not merely a geographical location or a nation, it was a symbol, tapestry woven from the threads of ancient religious beliefs. With each passing day, his story grew more intricate and enigmatic, painting a dark and sinister picture that called into question the very foundation of the three prominent religions that millions of ignorant souls held dear. Sigan's story began with the acronym Israel, which he knew symbolized the divine trinity of the goddess Isis, the sun god Ra, and the powerful patriarchal god El. He saw modern-day Israel as nothing more than a tool employed to deceive and maintain control over nations. For Sigan, the Quran and the Bible were not sacred texts, but elaborate scripts designed to perpetuate conflict and enable perpetual warfare under the guise of religion. He insisted that the very word, gospel, were derived from the victories won in the name of Rome, intertwining war and faith into a sinister dance of manipulation. This first-hand knowledge led him to see that the world itself was nothing more than a colossal chessboard, with nations serving as mere pawns under the spell of subtle manipulation. As Sigan delved further into the very mysteries of the ancient orders to which he once belonged, he unearthed links to secret societies and hidden symbols that had woven themselves into the fabric of history. The infamous hat known as the pileus, worn by the deity Mithras, took on a dark significance. It had been adopted by the Illuminati, becoming a focal point of their intentions to dismantle all royal orders and eradicate the Imperial Race. To Sigan, it symbolized pure genocide, an affront to his own heritage and an attack on the very essence of humanity itself. His proofs extended even to the shores of America, where the Statue of Liberty stood tall as a beacon of freedom. Sigan claimed that it was nothing more than a mockery, a sculpture commissioned by supporters of the French Revolution and a blatant representation of the Illuminati's influential reach. The all-seeing iron pyramid adorning the $1 bill served to solidify his case, revealing the secretive agenda of the enigmatic New World Order. In his relentless pursuit of truth, Sigan unraveled further enigmas and debunked established narratives. He fervently proclaimed that the famed Temple of Solomon, believed to be located within the boundaries of modern-day Israel, was nothing more than a distraction, a clever ploy to deceive the faithful. And as for the Wailing Wall, revered sight for many, Sigan argued that it too was a Roman construction, meant to deceive those who approached it with the utmost reverence.
He does not deserve your loyalty. He treats you like a slave.
In his eyes, people unknowingly kissed the ass of the Roman Empire every time they pressed their lips against the seemingly sacred stones. Sigan's theories extended even into the realm of genetics, as he postulated that different races should remain separate in order to preserve their unique qualities. He passionately expressed concern over the dilution of the Japanese Imperial Race by the recent flood of black immigrants, seeing it as a nefarious plot orchestrated by the Illuminati to destroy the heritage of the Turanians. His views on selective interbreeding, though controversial and often criticized, were rooted in his unwavering belief in the survival of his own Mediterranean nations, or Medo-Asian people. This was in respect to the Orange race. However, as Sigan delved ever deeper into the labyrinthine web of his occult mystery schools, he found himself burdened by the weight of his knowledge. Though he yearned to share his discoveries with the world, to expose the hidden forces manipulating humanity, he also feared the consequences of unveiling such dangerous information. He questioned whether his pursuit of truth would ultimately lead to salvation or damnation. What would happen if his knowledge fell into the wrong hands? Would they be distorted, causing further chaos and division? Or would his revelations ignite a reawakening, challenging established norms and unveiling the true nature of the world? As time wore on, the echoes of Sigan's stories reached the ears of the ruling powers of old, and the king of the land at that time ordered his execution. Aware that all he possessed, all the secrets and knowledge that consumed his being, would perish with him, Sigan crafted a key capable of unlocking the secret to eternal life. Rumor spread that he cursed the New World Order, vowing to return one day and raze it to the ground.
I am returned.
Though Sigan's journey was shrouded in secrecy, his burning desire for knowledge compelled him to seek the light hidden within the shadows. As he grappled with his own beliefs and the potential consequences they may bring, only time would reveal the true impact of his extraordinary knowledge. It was, in essence, a battle against time and evil, a fight to preserve his body, the body of knowledge that is the ancient architecture of the old world itself, a legacy that had regrettably been demolished in the wake of the new world they call progress. We call it garbage, cheap modern crap, unsophistication, involution, and going backwards. And so, the tale of Sigan, the enigmatic Etruscan sorcerer of Murlo, faded into the annals of history, leaving behind lingering questions and a legacy that defied conventional understanding. The quest for truth, once set in motion, takes on a life of its own, with the power to shape destinies and challenge realities. Perhaps one day, the echoes of Sigan's stories will be rediscovered, sparking a new generation of curiosity and awakening the collective consciousness to the hidden forces that shape our world.
To have the world appreciate your greatness.
I Sigan Traino, an ardent seeker of truth and wisdom, was captivated by the occult from an early age. I delved into the depths of religion, philosophy, and ancient texts, yearning to uncover a profound understanding of the world and our place in it. I was ordained in the Aaronic and Melchizedek priesthoods, and I later on formed my own priesthood and order, the Order of Mercury of the True Order of Light. Through my studies and associations, I began to distinguish between different interpretations of natural law. For me, the natural law I follow is rooted in the earliest principles and teachings. I believe that there should only be one true natural law, untainted by personal interpretations. Unfortunately, I observed how certain individuals, with their own agendas, presented their skewed versions of natural law to the world. I did not believe in the complete abolishment of authority. I recognized that authority, when wielded fairly and justly, served a purpose in society. I envision a world ruled by an emperor and empress who are divinely ordained, carrying out a grand mission set forth by the gods and goddesses. However, I lamented how most rulers had fallen short of this lofty ideal. I was disheartened by instances in history where prominent societies of the Golden Age were destroyed by individuals who overthrew their rightful royalty. I found parallels in the French Revolution, where I saw the impacts of the Illuminati scoundrels who founded America on a false sense of liberty. To me, the Statue of Liberty represented a symbol of misguided ideals. I felt a deep concern for the consequences of a world without authority. I feared that chaos and lawlessness would prevail, with murderers, rapists, and pedophiles running rampant. My point is that it is impossible not to have order followers, and those who serve get the job done. As the samurai way in which I follow, there is great honor in service, for in order to lead, one must first obey. Reflecting on the world's transformation, I mourned the loss of aesthetic beauty and natural wonders. I compared the exquisite architecture of bygone eras to what I perceived as cheap and uninspiring modern designs. Blaming the Bavarian Illuminati, who I saw as responsible for the decline, I mourned how magnificent cathedrals and other remarkable structures had been demolished. I urged others to explore evidence out there, supporting my perspective on the demolition of treasured monuments. My deep love for architecture found its roots within the magnificent cathedrals and buildings that dotted the cities of my youth. The grandeur of those structures inspired me to follow in the footsteps of my ancestors and carry on their legacy. I feared for the fate of the world as I witnessed a transformative dawn, brought upon by a secret cult of death that rules the world. They governed with an iron fist, pushing forth what they labeled as progress. However, in my eyes, each new structure erected was a betrayal of the architectural wonders of the past. They replaced masterful craftsmanship with cheap materials, casting a shadow of mediocrity over the once magnificent world. They teach that there is no wrong, and there is no right. They believe that to define is to limit, and that everything must inevitably return to nothing, that all gender must be stripped, that race doesn't exist, and that all people must become one race by intermixing, and all identity should be lost. And then I understood why they were called a death cult. I found that both the right-hand path and the left-hand path were both wrong and ultimately led to danger and destruction, and that the true path was found in the middle, the jewel at the heart of the lotus. Under natural law, there is a right, and there is a wrong. Objective truth exists inherently in the universe, and morality is objective, and all wrongs against natural law come down to theft. Lying is theft of truth, rape is theft of one's body, stealing is theft of property, willful murder theft of life, unless it is in self-defense, etc. Obviously, it goes without saying under natural law, that no sane person should carry out a stupid or senseless and immoral order. There are many grey areas, and are far too numerous to mention here, and should be obvious to those who understand the effect and consequence of the times and changes and unfortunate situations in life where we find ourselves in difficult situations that cannot be avoided, where we may, for instance, have to make decisions we would normally never make, or do something we would normally never do in order to protect others or survive. This is simply a fact of life, and it is not always pretty, and it is just the way that it is. I had been particularly affected by the World Fair held in Chicago. The vivid images captured the grandeur and sophistication that once defined the world. Thoroughly researched, I uncovered the truth behind the claims that the structures were made of mere plaster. As a mason myself, I knew the exquisiteness that lay beneath the surface. The dismantling of those majestic monuments felt like a personal affront to the passion and dedication embedded in each brick and stone. With heaviness in my heart, I longed for the resurrection of the pagan paradise that these places had once been. I yearned to restore the glory that my ancestors had left behind. However, I stood alone in this desire. The world seemed to have turned a blind eye to the beauty that lay dormant beneath disposable creations. Determined to make a difference, I devoted my life's work to preserving the remnants of architectural marvels scattered across the world. Through meticulous documentation, I archived the history of these structures, ensuring that their stories would transcend time. I photographed every intricate detail, from the soaring arches of cathedrals to the delicate carving, hope that my endeavors will eventually garner attention, attracting like-minded individuals who share my unwavering dedication to architectural preservation. They formed a close-knit community, consisting of passionate craftsmen, historians, and artists. United by their belief in the power of the past, together, they scoured the world, locating forgotten ruins and overlooked treasures. I envision a future where these remnants would be resurrected and celebrated. With their collective expertise, they meticulously restored crumbling facades and brought life back to forgotten corners of the world. News of their endeavors spread like wildfire, captivating the hearts of people across continents. The remnants of the past began to ignite a longing for authenticity and true beauty. Movements advocating for the preservation of historical architecture arose, gaining momentum as society rediscovered the magnificence that lay hidden beneath the cheap veneer of progress. My dream of a revived world took flight as old photographs and timeless writings caught the attention of the masses. People yearned to honor the legacy left behind by their ancestors. Communities around the globe banded together, laboring to restore the architectural wonders that had fallen victim to the misguided hands of progress. From the ashes of evanescent designs, a renaissance was born. The new generation of architects embraced the meticulous craftsmanship and timeless elegance of the past. They ventured to redefine progress, rejecting transient trends in favor of enduring beauty. The world, once lost in a sea of plastic and empty promises, rekindled an appreciation for the architectural masterpieces that had once defined its character. Inch by inch, stone by stone, the world rediscovered itself, celebrating its rich heritage and basking in the everlasting splendor of the past. My journey, though fraught with challenges and skepticism, became a testament to the enduring power of creativity and a passionate belief in the beauty of the world. My legacy lived on, etched in the walls of every meticulously restored treasure, proclaiming to generations that true progress lies not in the destruction of the past, but in its preservation and celebration. And so, the world awakened to the realization that true beauty transcends time and cannot be contained within the confines of fleeting trends. Within every restored cathedral and carefully crafted building, the spirit of me lived on, reminding humanity of the paramount importance of cherishing the architectural wonders that whisper the stories of our collective past. My passion for history and architecture led me to connect the dots, tracing the lineage of civilizations. I claimed that those who fled the ruins of the Etruscan Empire had founded Japan, and that the Japanese people, by extension, were part of my extended family. Japan is the land of the rising sun, the promised land of Gion, derived from the word Zion, hence Gion Matsuri every year. On some of the floats of the festival of Gion Matsuri, we can still see images of the lost tribes' migration through the Middle East into Japan.
Regia paruan mai.
の創世記の24章ですか、それにですね、たまたまそういう文章がありましてですね。
Hic locus vesta est, qui servat pallada.
Legendary winged Tengu, or long-nosed goblins of Japan, represent the spirit world, as is also evident by the cap worn on the Tengu's head, and the Tengu handing out the Torah no Moki scroll, which refers to the Torah of the Hebrews. These Tengu can also be witnessed not only in Etruscan and Japanese art, but also in Sumerian art, called Anunnaki, handing out the authority to specific people to establish civilizations. I believed in preserving the culture and purity of certain races, advocating against the mixing of black immigrants in Japan, fearing the dilution of the nation's heritage. In a world that holds a multitude of beliefs and ideologies, I stand firm in my convictions, even as the tides of change threaten to sweep them away. Amidst the cacophony of voices proclaiming their truths, I had come to a startling realization about the future that lay before me. The Christians will most likely take over the Constitution in America, I mused, my thoughts roaming freely. As I've seen it, this shift will ripple throughout other Western countries like Australia and England. A world such as this, steeped in the dogmas of Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, is dangerous. Yet my understanding of history took me down a different path, to an ancient belief system that had shaped the world in ways few recognized. Mithraism, I proclaimed, my voice filled with conviction. It waged a silent war against the Etruscans, cunningly usurping their lands.
We sacrifice unto Mithra, the lord of wide pastures, sleepless and ever awake, whose long arms, strong with Mithra's strength, encompass what he seizes, and what is by the boundary of the earth. And thou, O Mithra, encompassing all this around, do thou reach it all over with thy arms. He drives in the awfulness of royalty, saying, Who will offer me sacrifice? To him shall I in my might impart brightness and glory. To whom bodily health? To whom shall I in my might impart riches and full weal? To whom shall I give in return, without his thinking of it, the awful sovereignty, beautifully arrayed with many armies, and most perfect, the sovereignty of an all-powerful tyrant, who fells down heads, valiant, smiting, and unsmitten, who orders chastisement to be done, and his order is done at once, which he has ordered in his anger. For his brightness and glory, I will offer him a sacrifice worthy of being heard. We sacrifice unto Mithra, the lord of wide pastures, sleepless and ever awake, a warrior who kills with the poniard. Bright are the ways of Mithra, by which he goes towards the country. We sacrifice unto Mithra, the lord of wide pastures, sleepless and ever awake, a watcher fully awake, a chief in assemblies, listening to appeals, he of the 10,000 spies, the powerful, all-knowing, undeceivable God. For his brightness and glory, I will offer him a sacrifice worth being heard. We sacrifice unto Mithra, the lord of wide pastures, sleepless and ever awake, for whom the Maker, Ahura Mazda, has built up a dwelling on the Hara Barazati, the bright mountain, where come no uncleanness made by the Devas, and he surveys the whole of material world from there, on the Haraiti Baraza. For his brightness and glory, I will offer him a sacrifice worth being heard. We sacrifice unto Mithra, the lord of wide pastures, a chief in assemblies, with 1,000 ears, with 1,000 eyes, high, with full knowledge, strong, sleepless, and ever awake. We sacrifice unto Mithra around the countries. We sacrifice unto Mithra within the countries. We sacrifice unto Mithra in this country. We sacrifice unto Mithra above the countries. We sacrifice unto Mithra under the countries. We sacrifice unto Mithra before the countries. We sacrifice unto Mithra behind the countries. We sacrifice unto Mithra and Ahura, the two great, imperishable holy gods, and unto the stars, and the moon, and the sun, Baresma. We sacrifice unto Mithra, the Lord of all countries. For his brightness and glory I will offer unto him a sacrifice worth being heard, namely unto Mithra, the Lord of wide pastures. Yatha Ahu Vairo. The will of the Lord is the law of holiness. I bless the sacrifice, and Payir, and the strength and vigor of Mithra, the Lord of wide pastures, who has 1,000 ears, 10,000 eyes, a Yazata, invoked by his own name, and that of Rama Havastra. Hashem Vohu, holiness is the best of all good. Give unto that man brightness and glory. Give him the bright, all-happy, blissful abode of the holy ones.
They were none other than Iranian assassins who seized the opportunity presented by the Etruscans and toppled their rule. Intriguingly, I discovered a link between the Etruscans and a modern-day nation that seemed worlds apart. One of the tribes that formed the League of 12 city-states in Etruria was compelled to flee Italy. I explained, my excitement palpable. They sought refuge in a distant land and settled in what we now know as Japan, the Promised Land. The Japanese people, the descendants of the Etruscan Empire, carry within them the legacy of an incredible civilization. Yet, my concern for Japan's heritage clouded my visions of the future. The powers that be, I lamented, they aim to erode Japan's culture and dilute its gene pool by allowing blacks to immigrate in vast numbers. Some races can harmoniously merge, but others should never intermingle. As their words resounded with a mixture of love, fear, and a desire to preserve the beauty of the Imperial Race, I unveiled the interconnectedness of ancient civilizations. The Japanese are not only my family, they are the heirs to the Medo-Asian race, selectively bred, who left an indelible mark on the world, I declared, my voice ringing with conviction. With every word, I delved deeper, uncovering hidden histories and forgotten truths. The very word person finds its origins in the Etruscan word perso, I revealed. They were the architects of Solomon's temple, a people heralded as the builders, and the remnants of Tyre. Tyre means rock, which is a fitting explanation for the original stone masons. Tyre flourished as a marine metropolis and a bustling economic center in ancient times. The world's famous purple dye was the area's most important export at the time. It is important to note that the Etruscans were of the same stock, the same people who can be found within the Taira clan of Japan. Captured by the Tersonoi, abbreviated to Traino, I explained patiently, my knowledge flowing like a steady stream. All those grand structures and monuments that graced the old world fairs, they belonged to this remarkable lineage. They possessed knowledge and skills that surpassed their time. But then, like a bitter twist of fate, the Tersonoi vanished, leaving behind only echoes of their once great civilization. My voice wavered as I contemplated this unexplained disappearance. Just gone, I whispered softly, as if mourning a loss. All trace of their existence wiped away from the face of this earth. Unyielding in my pursuit of truth and understanding, I felt the urge to share my discoveries with the world. I am writing a new book called The Imperial Race, I announced with determination. Through its pages, I will unravel the intricacies of history and bring to light the profound connections between seemingly distinct cultures, inviting others into this remarkable journey. Yet, I braced myself for the inevitable backlash that my revolutionary ideas would invite. I am aware that many will label me a racist and scorn my words, I confessed, my voice tinged with both defiance and sadness. But let them say what they want, for they know nothing. The truth hides in plain sight, awaiting those courageous enough to perceive it. As I continue to delve into my research, pulling together threads of ancient civilizations, forgotten empires, and the enduring spirit of the Imperial race, I was unaware of the impact my discoveries would have on the world. My book would touch countless lives, forcing societies to question long-held beliefs and unlocking the power of human curiosity. For within my quest for truth lay a journey that would redefine perceptions, rewrite history, and ultimately lead humanity towards a future where the past and present fused seamlessly in the ever-evolving tapestry of civilization. Thus it all began with my unyielding pursuit of knowledge, driven by my insatiable curiosity and my unwavering belief in the connections that bound us all. Inspired by my vast knowledge, I embarked on a quest to document my findings and theories. This comprehensive work shed light on hidden histories and the true origins of societies. I poured my heart and soul into this endeavor, hoping to contribute to the collective understanding of our shared past. However, I was well aware that my bold views would attract criticism and accusations of racism. Undeterred, I resolved to stand firm in my beliefs, driven by a conviction that worldly opinions could never undermine my unwavering pursuit of knowledge. And so, my journey continued. I knew that throughout history, philosophers and thinkers had faced opposition and judgment for their ideas. Yet, armed with my unyielding creativity and determination, I persisted in my exploration of natural law and the hidden wonders of the world. For in the vast tapestry of existence, every voice that seeks to share a unique perspective shapes the collective understanding of humanity. Nestled in the picturesque landscape of northern Italy, lay the origins of the 12 tribes of Israel. Surprising as it may sound, these tribes found their original dwelling place in the heart of this enchanting region.
We were courageous soldiers, but we were constantly defending, while Rome kept creating its empire, which was to turn into the greatest empire of the ancient world. Veo applied for help to the Union of 12 cities, but they refused to help. We didn't manage to understand that our strength was in unity. Everyone stood for oneself. We lost this war.
To further blur the lines of history, the vibrant land of Calabria in southern Italy, renowned as Magna Graeca, emerged as the veritable birthplace of what was once known as Jerusalem. Originally baptized as Salem, this ancient city held secrets that would captivate the imagination of the world. The golden plates found in the city of Perge, in Italy, show that the original Temple of Solomon was built to honor the goddess Astarte of the star Venus, who later on became known as the goddess Diana of the moon.
These golden plates were found not far from the ancient port of Perge. They contain one of few discovered texts in Etruscan language, not of a burial nature. They contain an Etruscan king's address to God. Saint Lady Astarte, this is the holy place created and sanctified by King Teofera Bilanus in the month of sacrifice to the sun. As a gift to the sun, I have built the temple because on the 3rd year of my rule, in the month of Kera, Astarte asked me to build a temple. Let the statue of God in the temple stay as many years as there are stars in the sky.
The Leaning Tower of Pisa was the Tower of Babel, but the mysteries do not end there. Cast your gaze upon the iconic Leaning Tower of Pisa, majestically standing in the eponymous city. This architectural marvel served as the original Tower of Babel, placing this very spot at the center of human ambition, unity, and subsequent division. As the various tribes migrated from the east into Italy, Pisa evoking a sense of monumental significance. The Etruscan called Apello, from where we also get the word for apple. The word Babel is also where we get the saying, to babble on, thus the confusion of languages as was written in code within the Torah. It is all a play on words, as English, the so-called language of angels of the Anglo, can be considered a language of angles, as in angles and squares, as witnessed by the Scandinavian runic alphabet, which was originally used by the Turanians, who are the original Canaanites. The Turanians are a family of ethno-linguistically related peoples, which include the Hungarians, the Uralic group, Finnic and West Siberian peoples, and the Altaic group, Turkic, Mongolian, Tungus Manchu, Korean and Japanese peoples. The Turanians are the indigenous inhabitants of vast territories in Eurasia, from Central Europe to the Pacific Ocean, and have a rich and ancient cultural heritage. Delving deeper into the annals of history, we find ourselves amidst a famine-riddled land known as Lydia. It is here that Lord Tyrannus, accompanied by his people, the Tyrannoi, sought respite for their weary souls. Guided by their indomitable spirit, these migrants ventured to northern Italy, where they forged an everlasting union known as the League of the 12 City-States. And it was within these hallowed grounds that the Tower of Pisa took shape, etching their mark upon the world. The Tyrannoi, dubbed Tersonoi by the ancient Greeks, held themselves as the chosen people of the goddess Circe. From their devotion to Circe sprang the very word circle, which later evolved into church. From these ancestral origins, the word Tyrannoi gradually morphed into Traino, forever entwining its lineage with the descendants of Lord Tyrannus, such as myself. Recognizing the importance of this knowledge, as the sole bearer of this cherished wisdom, my duty compels me to unveil these untold truths to the world. Through interbreeding with the Villanovan people of heritage, a new civilization emerged, the illustrious Rassena, known as Etruscans. Born from this amalgamation of white and yellow races, the Etruscans embodied a harmonious fusion. Their history intermingled with that of the Greeks, who brought their orange-toned race to these lands. It is within the fabric of the Mediterranean landscape where the inception of the Mediterranean race took form, interwoven with hues of yellow and white, still evident in the artistic wonders left behind by the Etruscans. These oriental features subtly endure to this day. It is in the province of Siena, adorned with captivating artwork, that the faces of the Orient purposefully grace the canvases.
This is Giotto, Cappella degli Scrovegni in Padova. You can see the early Tuscan painting, you find always oriental looking appearance. We don't know why, but there must have been some contact, especially with Siena.
Oriental influences transcend time, transporting the beholder back to an age when cultures intertwined and artistic expression bloomed. It was the Turanians who taught the Vikings and all the other races the art of metal smelting, and their legacy still remains strong in Japan amongst the master swordsmiths. Yet, amidst these revelations, a misguided notion has emerged regarding the Etruscans. The fallacy, born out of Afrocentrism, asserts that this ancient civilization was of African descent, steeped in prowess and architectural brilliance. However, let it be known that this notion stands firmly on fragile ground, for there exists no irrefutable evidence supporting the claim of a fundamentally African lineage. Any fleeting depictions of black individuals within ancient Etruria arise merely from the migration of Sudanese tribes, who settled amidst the diverse tapestry of races inhabiting this wondrous land. These interlopers, rather than being a sophisticated builder race, emerged as invaders, causing tumult and unrest throughout history. Some Africans, however, did manage to live in harmony with the native Italians. In a forgotten era, when the world was young and mysteries abounded, three races coexisted on Earth: the black race, natural inhabitants of the land; the white race, descendants of the Venusians who descended from the planet Venus; and the yellow or Aryan race, descendants of Martians who descended from the Red Planet. These Martians, known as the Igigi, brought with them the pinnacle of technology and sophistication, igniting a spark of progress within the hearts of the human civilizations that flourished on Earth. As the Aryans set foot on this primitive planet, they were revered as gods by the native tribes. The knowledge they imparted was far-reaching, encompassing everything from the gift of fire and the art of metallurgy to the wonders of technology and intricate architectural designs. They also introduced the concept of fashion, adorning themselves and the humans with exquisite jewelry and embellishing their appearance with makeup. But perhaps the greatest gift they bestowed upon the humans was the knowledge of magic, power that could bind the forces of nature to their will. While the Aryans embraced these advancements, it was evident that the black race was intrinsically connected to the Earth's environment. They thrived in harmony with the land, clad in minimal clothing and living in tribes, their civilization adhering to a simpler and more primitive way of life. In contrast, the Aryans embraced their Martian heritage, congregating within the confines of their sophisticated dwellings, clothed in intricate garments befitting their advanced society. Through the passage of time, the legends of the Aryans' influence and divine nature spread across the world. Their descendants, known as the Trainian people, would leave a lasting legacy in Zipan, known today as Japan. The Western Emperor, Jinmu Tenno, set up his imperial court in Gion, and it is said that the Izumo gods declared the Ninigi line, to which he belonged, as the rightful heirs and guardians of Japan. Examining the depictions of Emperor Jinmu Tenno, the truth of their Martian heritage becomes clear. Clasped tightly in his hands is a bow adorned with the Etruscan Roman eagle, a cryptic symbol representing their Etruscan ancestry. The migratory journey of the Etruscans from ancient times to Japan is an untold story, hidden beneath the layers of history. Furthermore, the emperor is depicted wearing a toga, which stands in stark contrast to traditional Japanese attire. However, despite the undeniable evidence that lies before humanity's eyes, few are willing to accept these historical truths. Pride in a narrow understanding of present-day identity blind individuals, preventing them from acknowledging the collective heritage that intertwines the Aryans and the diverse peoples of Earth. The Axis of power during World War II knew the secret of the Etruscans, the master builders, hence why Germany, Italy, and Japan signed an agreement. However, unfortunately, everything that could go wrong went wrong. Keep in mind that this is dangerous information. Originally, the Germans thought that the Aryan race was white. However, later on they realized that they were wrong about the Aryans when they went into Tibet. Racism and cognitive dissonance further obscure these facts, particularly within the realm of religion. Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, grappling with their own intricate narratives, struggle to embrace these revelations and expand their perception of the past. Yet, in the constant search for truth, there are those who refuse to let ignorance prevail. They delve deep into the annals of history, shedding light on forgotten tales and shining a beacon of knowledge upon the world. It is through their efforts that humanity may finally transcend the shackles of prejudice, connecting the dots that span across time and space, unifying the threads of civilization into a grand tapestry. Only by embracing the boundless potential of understanding can the full extent of humanity's collective heritage be realized. As the mysteries of the past unfold, the story of the Yellow Race, the Aryans, and the diverse peoples of Earth will begin to merge, painting a more complete picture of our shared history and illuminating the rich tapestry of our existence. Liberters, the false so-called liberty of the Illuminati New World Order, those sons and daughters of criminals of the French Revolution, those who call themselves the Free Peoples, those who out of jealousy slayed their rightful royalty, robbed us of our crowns and destroyed our once sovereign world to replace it with the spawn of a lower star. The new rulers only have half a brain. While we see with two eyes, the Illuminati only see with one eye. The telepathic communication is the real danger to them. The red, white and blue colors of the American flag are the colors of the French Revolution, and represent their conquest. take its kingdom back from the misguided lies.
Lucifer is the hero of the story, not the God of Israel. He represents the old world.